There will not be tickets at the door. So if you want to join us at the All Black National Convention, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com and get your passes. We're lining up just tons and tons of great speakers and people you can connect with, people that you can build with, start businesses with. These are B1 people that agree with the B1 philosophy, that are on the same page as us. Our keynote speaker is Chris Broussard, who's a great brother who's on Fox Sports, but we also have experts in every area from crypto to medicine to law to real estate and everything else. So there's a ton of people there, but Chris is a great guy. And Chris, I think Chris might have come into class one day. I can't remember if he did or not. But either way, though, I'm gonna bring Chris back at some point because I just like the guy and I just really respect black men that understand the assignment, that it's our job to take care of our community. I kind of think that we spend a lot of time waiting for Superman, waiting for other people to do things that we're supposed to be doing. And so, if your neighborhood is not what it needs to be, well, that's your neighborhood. Right? If your family is not where it's supposed to be, well, that is your family. If your people are not where they're supposed to be, well, those are your people. Those are not his people, right? So can we agree on that? That it's very important for us to understand our role in making sure that we're good, because if the world has not shown you already that they don't care if you're good or not, they're not, the idea of worrying about whether or not other people care about black people, I really don't think about that very much because I know they don't care. You've shown me you don't care, and really you caring shouldn't matter whether or not I care about myself. That's the question. That's the fundamental $1 million question. All right, so here's what I also want to talk about um, really quickly is just because this, we talked about how great of a financial lesson this is. Mr. Shannon Sharpe, I read a report, and I don't know if this is true, but I saw something where he allegedly settled this suit. He was sleeping with that preschooler, the OnlyFans model, that little girl who was in elementary school just a few years ago, and now she's grown. He wasn't sleeping with any children, literally, but you know how it is. You 20, you a baby. So he ended up paying, I think they're reporting that he paid about $23 million to this girl based on the allegations that, she said he assaulted her. I don't know what the proof was or whatever, but I know she turned down 10 million. So I kind of knew that it was going to be a bigger number. And we've talked about this, so I'm not going to belabor this point in terms of how much of an infraction on black wealth that is when poor sexual decisions lead to massive losses of generational wealth that could be used to take care of lots of people. And the thing about Shannon Sharp that's interesting to me is that based on what I'm researching, I think that there's some other suits that are kind of sitting in the cut. There was a lady that was on. I think her name is Michelle Bundy Evans, and she claims she dated Sharp for about a decade, around 2010, and she sued him for defamation, libel, and slander, stuff like that. And I don't know, I got to double check, but I think that there could be some more stuff going on for him in terms of Michelle sort of getting some momentum behind this lawsuit. All right, one of the things about money is that money draws attention. And when somebody sees that they can suck blood out of you through financially, then other people are going to say, okay, that's what's going to help me eat. Like this is how I'm going to get my next big payday. Because I've got a bone to pick with you too, and it's even worse if you really did something bad to somebody, right? Because a lot of times money can give us false confidence and make us think we can get away with things. And I'm not saying Shannon did anything or didn't do anything, but I can say that we do live in a society that's very fickle and fragile when it comes to the wealth of black men. You don't really need proof that you did something. You just need an accusation. And an accusation usually is enough to suck a few $1 million out of your body. So protecting the wealth through things like trusts or business ventures or literally like I don't know. If I'm an NBA player, maybe I give all my money to my mama, or well, we put it in a trust, and my mama's the trustee, and then that way, if you sue me, you can't get all my money. These are some things that people do to protect themselves. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, these protective mechanisms have to kick into place. And the other reason that I didn't not to poke at Shannon Sharp, because I don't know the guy. I know people that know him, but I don't know him. But I really just sat back and I'd mentioned to you that really we know what the word poor stands for, right? The word poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. So a lot of times we're poor not because we haven't had opportunities to build wealth. Black people make 1.7 to 1.8 trillion dollars in income. Income is not wealth. Income is the opportunity to build wealth. So if you're getting income and you're not building wealth, that means you're poor. And you're poor because you've been passing over opportunities repeatedly. Every time we pull, it's 1.7 trillion, 1.7 trillion, 1.7 trillion. And they say, Lord God, why won't you bless me? God is like, I blessed you with 1.7 trillion. I'm about to bless you again with another 1.7 trillion. God ain't going to bless you with the wealth. He's going to bless you with the opportunity to build the wealth. So he says, I'm giving you opportunities. I'm giving you 1.7 trillion every year. 1.7 trillion is nothing to sneeze at. We've talked about this during the trip to Ghana, that African Americans are the richest black people on the planet. That the 1.7 trillion that you spend every year, and I say 1.7, it could be 1.8, it could be 1.6. I'm splitting it down the middle based on the estimates. That the 1.7 trillion is four times more than the GDP, gross domestic product, of the richest country in Africa. Richest country in Africa is South Africa, where Elon Musk is from. They have lots of rich white people like him, but you have four times that amount in terms of the income that you spend. So you're poor because you're poor, if that makes any sense. You're poor because you're poor. You're not poor because you're broke. You're poor because you're broken. You're not poor because you have no money. You're poor because you're passing over opportunities repeatedly. So as long as you pass over opportunities repeatedly, you will remain poor, and you will remain poor because you're poor. You will be poor, meaning lacking wealth, because you are poor, which is passing over opportunities repeatedly. One is an active statement, one is a statement regarding your circumstances. Well, why is this? Well, because two plus two is four, and your outcomes are the result of your actions. Your circumstances are a product of your choices. Your life is a painting, and you're the artist. And every action that you take is a stroke on the painting. Your life is a book, and I can read that book and look at the status of your life. And you wrote every single word in that dang book. So the question becomes, when are we going to choose not to be poor? Because you're poor because you're poor, passing over opportunities repeatedly. 1.7 trillion is an opportunity to build wealth, build institutions, etc. As long as a culture is embraced that encourages young black millionaire men to go out and put all their money in a stripper thong, you're going to remain poor. As long as you have a culture that embraces the idea of millionaire athletes sleeping with any working vagina within a 100-mile radius, then you're going to remain poor. As long as you embrace a culture that encourages young people to leave themselves uneducated and not work on building businesses, then you're going to remain poor. You're going to work for white folks until the day you die, and then your great great triple great grandkids will be doing the same thing. You will remain poor until you make a conscious decision and put forth the effort to change your behavior. So, um, speaking of that, institutional wealth is something the black community lacks. We don't have strong institutions. And sure, yeah, white people, white people, they just be acting white. They gonna keep on doing it. They sure they burn down your Black Wall Street. They take away your bit. Yeah, yeah, we know this. Okay, yeah. In case you're wondering if I am ever going to argue with you about the fact that there are white people who don't want to see black people do well. I hope we can agree on that. Can we agree that there are probably not there's probably not an army of white people who are hoping that we succeed? Can we at least agree that there's not a bunch of liberals or conservatives sitting around saying, "My I'm gonna feel good when the blacks start doing well. It's gonna just make my friggin' day, bud. Like I can't wait. Oh my God. We want the Negroes to elevate and have wealth and have the same thing we have. In fact, we want black people to have more than what we have, right? Can we agree on that? That they're not sitting around praying to white Jesus that you're gonna one day wake up and be empowered and wealthy and free. Can we agree on that? Can we get that conversation over? Because here's why I want you to. I need us to short circuit the wasteful discussions. I don't want to sit there with another able-bodied black man and have you give me a sermon, a 30-minute sermon about all the things white people are doing to stop us. I know they're gonna stop us. That's like we're on the same football team, and all you're doing is you're telling me about how the defense is going to keep taking the ball away from us and that the other team's going to keep scoring and that they're going to tackle us every time we touch the ball. I know that, you idiot. Stop that. Now, I'm not calling anybody an idiot. That's kind of mean. Just stop it. Stop telling me how great the other team is. Get off their nuts, so to speak. That's what you say. Let go of their testicles, right? Stop worshiping the other team because that's what you're doing. Whenever you're sitting around talking about what somebody else did to you, what somebody else gonna do to you, why somebody else don't like you, what you're doing is you're honoring them. You might as well get a damn statue of one of those Greek statues of a white man with his penis out. You know they have they're weird. They like those naked statues, and just put one on your wall. And I want you to just hold the leg of the statue and kiss the feet of the statue every morning because that's what you're doing every time you sit around and talk all day about what somebody else did, what somebody else is doing, what somebody else is going to do, what somebody else won't let you do, and why they don't like you. Dr. Boyce, I heard that they don't like black people. Of course they don't. But but do you like yourself? Like, do you understand? Do you understand that you live in a capitalist society? And the thing about capitalism, and I'm not a capitalist. I just want to be clear about that. But I know I live in a capitalist society. Capitalism is built on nothing but competition. Capitalism is built on survival of the fittest. So if you're not fit, you're not going to survive. That's just a fact. So the question that we must ask ourselves is not, do white people like us or not? The answer is probably no most of the time, but maybe it's yes sometimes. I'm not saying all white people are bad. That's not the issue. So if you're white, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Um, the question is, do we like ourselves? The question is not, do they believe in you? The question is, do you believe in yourself? The question is not, will they help you? The question is, will you help yourself? So if the answer to those important questions are yes, 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 yes. I like myself. I believe in myself. I want to help myself. Then your actions have to follow your words. You must enact your own internal policy on how you're going to carry yourself in this freaking society, in this freaking world. And the specifics of that, we've talked about this, but I'll labor it over. I'll go through it really quickly again. I got kids. Oh, my kids are learning wealth and economics at an early age. My children are having financial conversations at the age of 7. Yeah. I'm investing for me and my family. I'm putting money in that stock portfolio. I'm going to make sure we're good. Yeah. We're going to work on that family business. Yeah, we're going to really tap into what it takes for us to be strong. And if you do that, then you're going to win. Now, here's the thing. Here's where let's go back to the Shannon Sharpe thing, and why incidents like this make me very sad. I think I probably hurt Shannon's feelings or upset him because he blocked me on Twitter, and I was like, "Don't block me, man. I'm just trying to be helpful." But I know sometimes it doesn't sound like I'm helping. It sounds like I'm being an asshole, and I don't mean to be that. I'm just an angry man. I'm an angry black man. I'm frustrated, right? Because I see all these opportunities. Because that's the thing. I have financial sight. All I did was study money for 30 years, so I see so much, and it's like seeing dead people. It's like seeing being able to see ghosts, and you're like, oh, there it is. It's over there. And you look crazy. You look crazy because you see stuff. You have the gift of sight. Like my financial consciousness is something I've been working on since I was 20 years old. So I'm going to see stuff and I'm like, it's over there. There's money there. And I look crazy, right? So just write it off. I'm a nutbag. I'm a nut job. I'm insane. Ask my wife. She'll tell you. So Shannon, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but let me just be honest with you for a minute. Why this $23 million to this little child, this little infant that you were sleeping with bothers me so much. It bothers me because if I look at $23 million, did y'all know? Check this out, y'all. Y'all gonna trip out about this. Did you know that there's literally 23 HBCUs that have an endowment that is less than the amount of money that Shannon just gave that little white girl? There's 23 HBCUs that could have taken that 23 million and educated 100,000 black people over the next 100 years. They could have industrialized an entire city. You could have you could go to a school like Philander Smith College, whose endowment is 9.28 million. So this whole institution has less than one half of the wealth of this OnlyFans model, and literally, they could educate black children for hundreds of thousands of years. They could buy property. They could implement programs. They could train thousands of people on artificial intelligence. You could go to Wilberforce University, whose endowment is about a fourth of the amount of money he allegedly paid this lady, and with what 6.1 million to be exact. And literally Wilberforce, which is a great institution, could have taken that money and literally changed the world with that. And I could keep going down the list. You could talk about like I don't know, Payne College or Stillman College or St. Augustine's University. You could have doubled their endowment, right? And all it would have taken, it would have been really easy to do. All it would take is for you to go have sex with somebody other than someone who's going to sue you for all that money, and like find a grown woman, find somebody who was born maybe after, after 1990 or before 1998 or something, right? I don't know. I'm not judging. And then said, you know what? Yeah, I know I want to get it in because I saw Shannon talk. Shannon was on his show. He was talking. Remember, I don't know if you all remember. He had this weird thing where he accidentally recorded himself having sex or something. I don't know how that happens. But anyway, and he's like, yeah, I like to get it in. I get it in. I know you get it in, and that's good. You fine. That's called reproduction. That's nothing wrong with that. But when you're getting it in, just get it in with somebody else so you can protect the bag. Because what I would encourage other black men to really think about is this. This is your community, and not to say women can't be capable or anything. It's not discrediting that. And I hope you can understand where I'm coming from with this. But men, you've got the secret sauce inside of you that makes you capable in a very special way. Women are really important. We know this. But men, like if you look at any great empire throughout all of human history, the men were the warriors that would go out and defend the community. They would defend the castle. They would defend the women and the children and come out with the spears and fight. So if you had a village, imagine if the Danes. I went to Denmark, and the Danes and the Vikings, they were a bunch of assholes, and they were terrible. I mean, they were so bad, literally, they would make fun of you if you wouldn't kill a baby. So they were the original thugs. They were just like a bunch of deranged gangster rappers that literally didn't care about nobody. And so imagine you are a Viking, and you're there with all these other brutish Viking men who want to kill women and babies and do only God knows what, and you get to a village. And imagine if you get to that village and you're like, "Oh, they've got some gold. I want to go plunder that village." And then somebody says, "Well, you know that village that they have no men, or the men that are there are cowards. They're scared. They don't even care about their women. They don't want to protect their children at all. Now they make their women go 50-50, and they don't want to take care of no kids. They're just a bunch of punks. What do you think is going to happen? You're gonna laugh. You're gonna say, "Oh, well, this village is gonna be easy for the taking." Now, because our village is not defended by men, I think in many cases, not all men. I'm not talking about the real men. A lot of you get it. A lot of you understand where I'm coming from. But because our village is not defended, there are people who claim, you know, our territory for themselves. They come into our families, our communities, our institutions, and they say, "We can take whatever we want." Because these men, they don't, they're not, they're thinking about childish things. They want new cars, Lamborghinis. They want hoes. They'll go to the strip club like Jermaine Dupri and put $10 million in stripper thongs over a 20-year period. They're not thinking about building empires. They're not thinking about defending or protecting anything. They don't want to own institutions. They see themselves as children. So in fact, they have a guy like named Shannon Sharpe who could be a great leader for the community, who literally will go give $23 million to an OnlyFans model just because the sex was good. So this man is incredibly undisciplined, at least when it comes to what it takes to defend and protect the territory. So my point is to say that responsibility is something that you choose to embrace or not embrace. It's really a personal decision. My father chose to take care of me and my mother, even though I was not even his child. He literally, and I heard him speak the language, and I said, so tell me about what happened back in the '70s when you met me and my mother, and why you chose this difficult journey. He said, I knew that you all wouldn't survive without me, and I said, this woman and this child, they're mine. I'm protecting this. So his definition of masculinity was that as I go out here and I fight and I win and I become successful, I'm doing that for someone other than myself. And I see men who reject that idea. I see men who think you're crazy if you talk that way, and I think that is them taking you out of your natural masculine spirit. So why do I bring this up? Well, because Shannon, you wrote a check for $23 million so you can get some ass. And literally there are HBCUs. You could have went to Shaw University and tripled their endowment. Based on the data here, it says 10.9 million is their endowment. I could be wrong, but you literally could have made a transformational donation to that school that would have educated hundreds of thousands of your young people for the next until the year 2000, and probably till the year 2200. Like literally, if that money's invested properly, that money could have helped support that school for 100 years or more. And the idea that it gets thrown away so you can have an orgasm speaks to bad culture. It speaks to instant gratification. It speaks to um, not having a purpose bigger than simply going out and enjoying yourself. And so that's all I have to say about that. In fact, I'm going to stop being such a serious man for a minute because I think sometimes when I get extra serious, it scares people. So what I want to do is I want to show you something that I thought was really funny. This is just something stupid that I just did because I just thought it was I like to make I pick things that make me laugh so I don't get so serious. I decided because you guys know I believe our kids should be talking about money. I did something that was kind of fun. I called it the Black Business Babies. And so I said our kids should be talking about finances. And I have a weird sense of humor. I tell dad jokes and stuff, and sometimes I'm the only person laughing at my joke. But here's what I did. So check this out. This is fun. This is the beauty of AI. Here we go.
Today we're talking about credit, the grown-up word that affects our whole community. Those payday loans and rent-to-own places, they target our neighborhoods on purpose. Back to baby business talk. Today we're discussing why some people make less money for the same work. Yeah, it's affecting our community's piggy banks. So get this, two people can have the same college degree, but one gets paid way less. That's not fair. Education should equal pay. Creates a cycle that less money today means less wealth tomorrow. And that affects our kids and their kids too. We gotta break this pattern. But we're not just complaining, we're finding solutions. Absolutely. We can demand fair pay, negotiate salaries, and support each other. Today we're talking.
Okay, so there we go. So that's an introduction to what I just thought it would be cool to call it the Black Business Babies, right? We got the Black Business School, so Black Business Babies, and maybe if you like it, I'll make some more stuff because I think it's cool, like watching our children talk about the things that we need to understand as a people when it comes to wealth. I think it's great to also watch our children prepare for the next generation, right? Talk about how they're going to take over in the year 2050, right? And I think the earlier you get them started, the better. And if you like it, I'll do some more stuff. So I put stuff on my Instagram, which is Dr. Boyce Finance. Feel free to go check it out. And thank you for joining me in my one man celebration of my ridiculously corny joke. But I do think it overall, generally speaking, if you really want to talk about what wealth looks like, what power looks like, what dynastic wealth looks like. Lamar Tyler used that term last year at the All Black National Convention. I like that term. He didn't talk about generational wealth. He talked about dynastic wealth. Like what does it mean to build a dynasty? Well, it definitely starts with the kids. It starts with understanding how valuable they are, how important they are, how critical they are to carrying on the legacy, to carrying on the institutions, carrying on these ideas. And when you raise them in the middle of Black power, those kids, they walk the world differently. They accomplish different levels of achievement. They have a sense of responsibility and connection to others outside themselves that literally allows them to do things other people can't do. So let's get our kids talking about wealth. And so that website, kiddieboss.com, KIDDI, there's a training there called How to Turn Your Child into a Millionaire. And there's a very simple formula, very simple process for you to do things that would put your child in a position where they never have to work for anybody ever again. So your grandkids, same thing. It's very easy to do, but you got to start early. We're doing stuff with my niece. The website is kiddieboss.com, KIDDIE, kiddieboss.com. And in fact, we're doing stuff with my niece. And I told my brother, I said, she's 6 years old. We're a little bit late. We got to accelerate the process because six is even too late when it comes to investing for a child. Now, fortunately, we've got some wealth already set aside for her, but I was like, no, let's pick this up because we got to make sure by the time she's 25, she understands that working is optional. There's a big difference between working because you want to versus working because you have to. So whatever age, whatever stage you're at, now is the best time to start. But so if you're not 6 years, if your child's not 6 years old anymore, or 4 years old, or whatever, that's okay. But you got to do something. You have to do something. Preparation is critical. Wealth is driven by preparation. All wealth is a manifestation of preparation. All wealth is show and tell. Wealth is a show and tell of what you've been doing with your income for the last several years. And so if you have no wealth, then that is a reflection of you. You can back that out. You can reverse engineer the circumstance by looking at the actions that took place before the final event. So you can reverse engineer brokenness by saying, well, how much did I invest last year? Nothing. Well, how much did I invest the year before? Nothing. Well, how much did I invest the year before that? Nothing. Well, then nothing plus nothing leads to nothing. You knew that a long time ago. You got to have a job if you want to be with, right? So what I would say to you is this. Here's what I would tell you. This is something I thought about this morning when I was on my run. I want to emphasize this critical important point. Here's something that you can try. Some of y'all are still scared to invest. You haven't, you're not making the move the way you want to yet. That's okay. Let me give you another way to frame it so you can make it into a game. And I thought about this because I heard a scientist talk about people like me that have ADHD. And they said one thing about ADHD is that it's hard to have that discipline because you're not getting the dopamine hit that comes with constructive action. So if you take a person with ADHD and you say, "Here, I'm gonna pay you in advance to do this job," a lot of times they're not going to do the job because there's no instant gratification that comes with the completion of the job. You already gave them the gratification in the beginning. You gave them the money. That's why, for example, if you ever do an agreement with another party, split the money up. Just say, "I'll give you something here. I'll give you something here. I'll give you something here." Right, and that way you're kind of pulling them along. They're dropping the breadcrumbs, and so. I thought about that in this way, and I said, okay, you know what? I think what would be fun, and this would work, is I want to encourage you to spend money. A lot of people tell you, and we've talked about this on, so I'm not going to repeat myself too much on this, but I'll say it. A lot of people make you believe that in order to build wealth, you have to cut costs in every area. They'll go through all the things that you can cut out of your budget in order to have more money. Don't get Starbucks coffee. Don't go to nice restaurants, or you spent money on Air Jordans. How dare you? That's not really what causes financial problems. That doesn't stop you from building wealth. I spend money. My wife and I spent we spent a ton of money going to Ghana. I mean, we don't play. I told you my wife is bougie, first class, everything, 5 star, all of that, right? That's what she does, and I don't judge it. I don't care, right? Um, but the one thing that she does though that I admire is that even though she will spend and get what she wants, she never misses her investments in her stock portfolio. She never, I mean, she does it religiously. She never, ever, ever in any given month forgets or neglects to make the deposit into that long-term stock portfolio. That happens religiously, like clockwork, rain, sleet, snow, or hail, no matter what. So here's the deal. Spending money ain't what makes you broke. It's when you don't invest that makes you broke. That's what's making you broke. It's not the spending. It's especially if it's in moderation, and it's. I mean, if I mean, I guess if theoretically, if you kept spending and you gave every penny you had, then yeah, that could cause problems. But buying nice stuff for yourself and feeling good about all the hard work you put in is not what makes you broke. What makes you broke is when you don't invest. So I'm encouraging you to spend. If you're stuck, I want you to understand one thing. I learned this about exercise. I learned this when I was fat. I learned that even if I wasn't doing the workout I know I needed to do, that there's a very big difference between doing a little bit and doing nothing at all. It's massive. It's huge. And the reason it's that, and just from a health perspective, that stuff is so important because I'm telling you, like if you're not exercising at all that stuff gets in your body, these toxins, and they just marinate and then they turn into cancer and everything else. Like literally, like a little bit of exercise is very different from doing no exercise at all. And so the agreement I made with myself was I was like, boys, I know you don't feel like doing this, but we got to do something. Let's just do something. We're in this hotel. I know you don't want to go to the gym. We're not gonna get dressed and go to the gym. But for 15 minutes, I want you to run back and forth in this hotel room and do jumping jacks and push-ups and make yourself tired. That way you can say you did something, right? So so I would say this. Here's what I want you to do. And everybody can do it, or just consider it. I don't give orders here. I'm not here. I'm not here to be anybody's leader or force anybody to do anything. I'd like to provide support for what you want for your life. If you don't want it, I don't want it. But I assume you want money. Do you want to do better financially? Let me know if you do. Okay. All right. I would say if especially if you're starting investing, if it works for your budget, I would just do a matching funds program. Like I would literally, if you buy $100 worth of stock, buy yourself $100 worth of food or clothes or whatever. Go shopping, spend $100. You put $1,000 in your stock portfolio, then if you have the money, if it works, then go spend $1,000 on a vacation. Just do it that way. Like literally let the spending be the reward for the investing. Um, or maybe if it's more affordable, maybe you say for whatever every dollar I put into my stock portfolio, I'm gonna go spend 50 cents because I need to enjoy my life. I want to be comfortable while I'm doing this. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to suffer, right? Reward yourself for doing the right thing. And the level of reward can vary based on how you feel. Some of you need a lot of reward because you're having a hard time getting any sort of momentum. And a lot of you don't need any reward. Some of you don't need to spend money in order to feel better, and that's okay too. Do what's going to make you happy. I want you to really be happy. That's really important. That's more important than the money. I want you to do the right thing and feel good about it. So whatever that takes for you, you got to do it. Like let me give you an example. This is how I got through grad school. Let me just tell you, there's nothing more awkward than to be in grad school till you're 31 in a family where most people don't even go to college. Like I would go to family reunions and I became known as the career student. People were like, "What are you doing?" Like, they'd be like, we'd be sitting there and they wouldn't have anything to talk to me about because I was getting smarter and so I was becoming more of a weirdo. And they'd be like, "So you're still in school, huh?" And that was and I heard that over and over again. And so it was terrible. It was like, man, like I feel like I missed the big chunk of the 90s. I kind of watched the 90s happen and I couldn't really be out there because I had friends that were getting married and having kids and buying houses and I was still in school. Now being in school was actually cool though to some extent because I had a flexible schedule and I could go to the movies on a Tuesday and all that. A lot of my working friends couldn't do that, but still I felt like I was kind of missing out on life and I was like, man, this is crazy. But I had to do that in order to finish the doctoral work because it was really, really hard. And so the agreement I made with myself was um I took student loans, and honestly, I didn't even need the loans. There were times I literally borrowed money, and I had a full scholarship where they paid for everything. I, would- I had one of those things they call a fellowship where you all your tuition's paid and they give you money to live off of. I could have easily lived off that money, but I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy myself. I'm sacrificing. I deserve rewards. I love me and I want me to be comfortable while I'm putting me through all this nonsense. I'm going to treat myself like a king, even as I'm working like a slave. Do you understand? So I'm not saying this is the approach everyone should take. So I had student loans. Um, I haven't paid them off completely, not because I couldn't, but because I wanted to use the money for other things. But the interest rate was super low. But that was the personal agreement I had to make with myself to convince myself to keep doing what I needed to be doing. Not maybe some people are more disciplined. Maybe some people are like, no, I can suffer for 5 or 10 years, and that's fine. If you have it in you, go for that. I don't like to suffer. I don't like being uncomfortable. I like being happy. And what I want you to and let me just say this. I'm comfortable and I'm happy and I did build wealth at the same time. My stock portfolio, I go hard with my stock portfolio, right? So what I want you to do is go hard with your stock portfolio, but also play hard with yourself, meaning go hard on loving yourself. Go hard, take the spa trip if that's what you want to do. Buy yourself the Mercedes if that's what you want to do. Just and do, but connect it to some sort of reward. So you're not just wasting money or spending money just to spend money. Spend money because you did something good for yourself. Go to your favorite restaurant because you went to the gym 5 days in a row and you're proud of yourself for taking on your health. Reward yourself for doing the right thing. And here's what will happen. Here's the hack to this I think is beautiful. This links back to what I was telling you earlier about ADHD and dopamine responses and all these other things. Dopamine is what makes you feel good, and that's what you feel when you have sex or when you eat ice cream or whatever, right? So the dopamine can drive and incentivize the right behavior. So if every single time I make an investment, I go do something good for myself, then I'm connecting the positive response of the dopamine. I'm connecting this high that I get to doing the right thing, to investing. And so then I start to enjoy investing. Do you follow what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So again, I know some of you already have your systems. Some of you are already doing what you're doing. You can ignore every single word that I said. I just want to lay this out as another framework because here's the secret. Here's the secret to wealth and really anything. It's really habits. That's that's one of the biggest things I've learned. I wrote about it in my book that it's called The Ten Commandments of Black Economic Power, in case you don't know. And in the book, I talk about culture and habits. Habits are the villain. That's what, because think about this. Most people know how to save money. Like it ain't that you ain't got to go to school to know how to save. You know that if you spend your money, you're gonna have less than you have if you save it. 4 year olds know how to save money, but most people don't do it. Most people know how to go to the gym and exercise and do some jumping jacks and push-ups and lift weights, but most people don't do it. And what I found is that Napoleon Hill actually said that when you want to do something better to elevate your life, the mistake we make is that we wait until we're motivated to do it. And then we believe that once we get the motivation, then the action will follow. And he says it should be the opposite. You should have the action and then the motivation will follow. Right. So it's really about sort of getting up off your ass and changing your behavior and just moving forward and finding some excuse, some reason, even if it's a stupid reason, to just do something different. And what will happen is if you're associating these good feelings with taking a specific action, like every time I invest, I reward myself by buying myself something nice. So that makes me feel good doing it. Then guess what? I'm forming a new habit. That's how habits get formed. That's how addictions get formed too. They all the casinos do, all social media does is they manipulate your dopamine levels. In case you don't know, or people that have sex addictions or any type of addiction, it's driven by the dopamine. So I would encourage you to use that science in your favor as it pertains to building wealth. Make wealth building something that excites the hell out of you, makes you feel good, gives you the same high that you would get if you was out smoking crack. So I am a financial crackhead. That's what I am, and I'm happy to be. Just call me Pookie because it be calling me, man. It be calling me. I love it. So anyway, let's get out of here. So shout out to all my fellow financial crackheads. I want you to go out here and get money and be successful and be happy while you're doing it. Um, I want to mention really quickly two things. One, the real estate club meets on Friday, actually tonight. Chalet Camilo is coming in. And so if you're looking to invest in real estate and dig deeper, Chalet is really, really good. She's also coming to the All Black National Convention. And so if you want to join or do a free trial in the club, just go to drboycerealestate.com. That's drboycerealestate.com. Also, the crypto club meets next week. And so if you want to join our crypto expert and talk about ways to dig deeper into your crypto, you can go to b1crypto.com. That's b1crypto.com. And also make sure you're on the text list for this class if you're not on it yet. You can do that by texting the word morning to the phone number 87948. So text morning to 87948. And since you guys like the Black Business Babies, just expect like an episode every day or so. And maybe your kids will like it too. But yeah, but I'm gonna tell you, B1 kids are the successful kids. B1 kids are gonna be the winners. B1 kids are gonna be the wealthiest. B1 kids are gonna be the toughest, the smartest, most capable. B1 kids are gonna love themselves. B1 kids are gonna have pride. B1 kids are not you can't oppress a B1 baby. That's my approach. That's what I believe, and I believe it's up to us as the parents, grandparents, uncles, mentors to instill them with that confidence and let them know ain't nobody gonna stop you. You're headed to the top. You're gonna win. So let's go get it. Let's make it happen. God bless you. Thank you.